Hey, happy 8 o'clock, everybody. At least for those of you on the East Coast. So I see many of you already in the chat, hanging out, talking about Heritage, getting your last winnings shipped. Alberto, congrats on that. I'm sure you'll have it posted to CAF. You may already have it posted to CAF. I know some of the collectors in the audience like to post their winnings even before they are in hand. All right, I do that sometimes myself. It's nice to show off pieces that you've coveted for a while, even if you don't have them in your hands yet. But we've got a illustration showcase preview for you. Another one from Heritage Auctions, and I've got Sarahjane with me again. This time, though, you're not. You're on the West Coast now, right?
I am. I gotta go where the art is too. I gotta see all the new things that everybody's getting.
I get it.
I can't just stay holed up in my apartment.
So do you actually schedule visits for potential consignment meetings and those sorts of things, or do you just kind of get in there?
Yeah. If you're on our kind of list and you're in the area, we usually do an e-blast if I'm coming to town. But people can also always, if you have things that you think might be good, you can always just email me. I'm easy to find. sarahjaneb@ha.com.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Marcus says it looks like you may be at the police morgue, I guess. But no,
I'm not at the morgue. They just hotels have gotten way too industrial for my taste. They all do kind of look like they don't want to be too friendly. They want to make sure you remember to go home someday.
Exactly. I figured you were at the Heritage offices and that was art, but it's not. It's actually the cold comforts of a West Coast hotel.
Exactly. That's how much I want to hang out with you all. It's the end of my day, and I'm still gonna stick around. They've kicked me out of the office, but I still want to hang out with y'all.
Awesome. So let's talk a little bit about the auction. So when is bidding open right now? When does it end?
Bidding is open. The auction closes on the 9th, so it's a Monday, I believe that is. It's coming up. Everybody should get their last minute questions in, although everything should be pretty self-explanatory. It's beautiful art with beautiful pictures of it. So you should be able to see everything that you want. It's really fun. I'm really excited that we've started doing more showcases because I think that it's really nice to have just more opportunities for people to think about buying, to think about consigning, to, be able to get things kind of like in the pipeline and just be more connected with the art more times a year.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. That's a good way to do it. And that's why I asked, because it was an odd day. You're right. It's a Monday when it's closing, but I put a link in the chat so people can dive right in it. And the art's a little bit different than the last illustration art auction that you had. I mean, it's the varieties. I mean, we've got a Schomburg that we're going to look at first. And so there's pieces and artists that aren't represented in the signature auctions that you get in the showcase.
Well, we did have a Schomburg in the last signature. We don't always have them, but we did have a Schomburg. But yeah, we've got Leo and Diane Dillon. This one, I think one of the things about this auction is that it really covers all the classics. It's got some prelims from like Lion Decker, even. It's got like everybody a little, it's got a little bit of everything, but it skews a lot newer in terms of it's more contemporary, which I think is, gives us a chance to have a different conversation about things. And it definitely has, it's heavy into paperback, got some great pulp covers, great sci-fi, and just I think it's very inviting, if I had to describe it in a word.
Awesome. Well, why don't we dive into the 20 lots that we've selected? Now, how many lots are there in total for this one?
Oh, gosh.
Roughly? Okay, I'm
roughly 300. Yeah, let's say. Yeah.
All right, let me see. I'll go ahead and look at the search. Almost 300, right?
Yeah,
so we've got, couple paintings, one photograph, and plenty of works on paper. All right.
Yeah. I know it's really all, you know what? It should all say works on paper. It's mostly paintings. There's definitely no photographs. I don't know why it says photograph. That would be an error.
Here, let's see what we got here.
Weird. It should say all. Normally, I mean, I guess because there's a lot of things that are paintings. I'm gonna have a talk with somebody. I have to have a talk with our IT.
Right. I'll tell you, Heritage has a few mysteries for me too, because on my CAF update tonight, I always pick 10 lots to talk about, right? And it's from the lots that just were released this morning at right after midnight Central Time. And I always pick the 10 really interesting ones, but I also report on the week prior. Okay. And when I do that, invariably every other week there'll be this one incredible piece of comic book artwork that I didn't see And we're talking like a piece that ends up finishing over 5 figures on a Wednesday auction. I don't know how that happens, but I swear somehow Heritage slips in a really high ticket item somehow after the original drop, and it just, because it's impossible. I mean, the pieces that so
I know there's no such thing as human error, Bill. That is definitely not human error. I will say one more thing before we go into this, just about the Wednesday auctions. We've just finally we now have a tick box for illustration art specifically. It's probably going to take a few months before that really gets populated, in the same ways. But we're building and building and building the illustration art into those auctions more and more and more in a way that, there's always been illustration and art in those auctions. There's always been just great things that you find every week, but now we're making it more searchable. We're kind of like flagging it more. So we're really excited about kind of building that as well.
Well, that's interesting. That's true though. There's always, I don't know, not a lot, but there's between 5 and 10 illustration pieces in there that, yeah.
I'm looking forward to this time next year, there being a lot more.
Good. Well, I am too then. Yeah. So here we go. We get to start off with the Schomburg. And this is a prelim though. Let me go ahead and click on this one.
It is a prelim. But it's a really, his prelims are really well realized. I really like the way that he does them quite tight, so they really do, they pop,
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of us can't afford a non-prelim anymore.
You gave me your set. I clicked on this lot and I didn't zoom into it. But when I was making the intro, I had to download each of the images and I threw it into Adobe Premiere, and that's when I realized it was a prelim. Because as a thumbnail, it looked complete, and I thought it was the finished piece. And I figured that's why you were starting with it as a number one piece in the set. So no, I mean I completely agree with you. This is a very finished prelim.
Yeah. No, I got to admit, there's really no rhyme or reason to this, what I shared tonight, except for this is some stuff I liked, and I'm trying to not give you the same batch of stuff I liked in the last sale, a little bit of a different angle onto the interior of stuff that speaks to me at least.
All right. Well, this is a great place to start. And what do we got here? Gone from a Isaac Asimov magazine. So this is another prelim.
But no, this is a prelim, but what I want you to do is flip to the next image of it. What I love about this is it's a prelim that has all of his notes where he, calls it a beastie and just all of these really hyper specific things that I think are part of the reason why prelims are an exciting thing to collect in and of themselves. So I think this is a really special piece for that reason. And I just love Gaughan, and I think it's a really fascinating one.
Oh yeah. Well, we definitely love the process that goes into the art. So no, this is great. This is a character sheet for sure.
Yeah.
Let me see. Oh yeah, this was very narrow. As I say, it's an interior to
so this is and this is a final, and this is a final, and I think that what I love about this is that it has everything that people love, but it's both sci-fi, and then it has all the natural elements, because he became a natural kind of history artist as well, and really became a nature artist. So I love that there's like kind of this tree effect in it. So I think it really speaks to his talent in a big way.
Do we know the year on this one?
We do. It is, if we click at it, it'll say it, because this was published. So 1960.
1960. Okay.
Yeah. And so a while before he, did the cover that then was ripped off by Chewbacca, but yeah.
I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah. Not the last Star Wars tie-in that's going to be in the sale.
Okay. I like I love Finlay's work. So it's and this is magnificent. This is a perfect example. And whenever I see one of Virgil's pieces appear on CAF, I always try to feature it on my Thursday show, because they're just so spectacular. The amount of
detail. I mean, this one with the cross hatching, and like the way like no matter how far you zoom into it, like you're still just getting more and more and more detail. this is the sort of piece you want to look at under a microscope, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is beautiful. $2,400 already. But yeah, you can't go wrong. I mean, if you're an illustration art collector from this area, you have to have a piece by Virgil in it
Yeah,
because
and there's a few others in
so prolific.
the show too, or in the sale too. But I only featured one because
Of equal
Bill's a very
detail.
busy man. I didn't want to take too much of his time.
Well, I haven't had a chance to look at the showcase auction yet. So, yeah, because I am a very busy person, but hopefully I'll have time this weekend. I should
Yeah,
actually. I've got one show on Saturday, and then after that, I've got Sunday off. But no, this is a great, great
this
piece of
one's
this.
one of the stars. No pun intended.
Mm. Now, Berkey. This is these are fun. I've
Yeah,
always admired the style and technique. I mean, there's no you can't mistake a work by him for anybody else, really.
I know that. Yeah, there's nobody like him, and I I think this is this. I anytime I always get lost in the curves. Just
Hmm.
the way there's like never a right angle anywhere, no matter how far you dig into a Berkey. Like it's just done with like such complete care to really kind of create this full sense of movement in every little bit of it.
I agree. Yeah, it's we have a art dealer named Berkey with a
Oh yeah.
with a U, so a little different there, Marcus. Not the same gentleman, but no, yeah, this is just it's awesome. I love these.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of these in person too, and
Yeah, and then this is another one that like anytime you see one of those in person, you just want to get as close to it as you can, and just like the detail is down to just like the most minuscule point of it. That
mhm.
he didn't do anything by degrees. He didn't cut any corners.
No, not at all. That's wonderful.
Yeah. And
Now
here
this
we
piece,
go on space art.
this one, it's hard to not stop and look at it and wonder what was going on, the thought process in making this because it's amazing. I can't say I've ever seen a work of art quite like this one.
I mean, and he caught your eye in the last time we talked. I
Hmm.
remember you were like, Chris Foss, he's not an artist I know a lot about. He's another one who there's a few different pieces in the sale by him. I think he has a really strong fan base, but it's growing all the time. So yeah, this was actually a concept that came that it was for Warhammer 40K battles. What is it? Battlestar Gothic or Battleship Gothic. I honestly, I'm starting to fall so in love with some of this Games Workshop art that I almost want to become a Warhammer person.
Uh-huh.
I might be too old. Yeah. Yeah.
You're never too old to game. So I've never played it, so that's why I guess I didn't see the reference in there, but I get it.
Yeah, but yeah, no, but he's I mean he's another one. Like I like showing him after the Berkey because I just think they're really just two of the most astonishing space artists to be out there.
Yeah, that is really nice. What's the size on something like that?
That's
12,
actually,
12 by
it's
16.
not huge, but it's not small. It's
Mm.
like it's a nice size. You have room for it on your walls, everybody.
Exactly. All right. Now this
And
is I'm not familiar with Peter Jones.
so this is another thing. So this is you wouldn't expect this to have a tie-in, but Peter Jones, he's another British artist, or another. I think he actually. It says American here, but I know he's connected. He's got a lot of connections to Britain. I don't know where he was born, but he also did Games Workshop stuff.
Mhm.
Again, he did a lot of like magazine covers for them. So he's really in this same vein, in this same world as Chris Foss, even though very different looking. And I love this. It's got so much going on. It's like it's got so much going on about kind of paperback culture in that period of time
Mhm.
where it's got these references to kind of like all of the kind of like Travis McGee, like laid back, like they're like Travis McGee laid back detectives, but then also this incredible, like alien. And it's really, got that kind of like 70s airbrush style. It tells you a lot about kind of like what was going on in art when it was created.
Well, it's interesting.
And it's sexy and fun, and weird.
Well, yeah,
and
you're on the beach.
kind of
If
weird
you don't have a woman who's in a bikini, then it wouldn't be proper. But yeah, and it's
If you
from the
didn't have a woman in a bikini, it wouldn't be me coming on the show. Come on.
That's right. We're gonna look at some
Yeah.
women here in a little bit. What else have we got here?
And yeah, there's somebody who said the wraparound format worked so well on this. And then I think that the next one is going to be it's another
Right.
wraparound. And this is one of the pieces that the wraparound works really well. It might not be instantly recognizable to everybody, but for me, when I saw it, my jaw dropped. This was a cover for the first Earthsea book, and we actually have all 3 covers of this version of the trilogy of the Ursula Le Guin Earthsea original trilogy in the sale, all by Pauline Ellison, another British artist. And again, it's one of those pieces that really rewards you digging in and just looking closer and closer.
Yeah, when I first looked at it, I had no idea that there was a serpent intertwined in the city there. No, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And we do have an image of, I don't think it comes with the cover, but we do have an image of the cover in this listing, because I think it does kind of help you understand kind of like just like the phenomenon of the wraparound. Like that. Yeah, that's what the front cover looked like. But and that's like, to me, I'm like, like I saw that. If I saw that out of the corner of my eye, I'd recognize it, that book. And I did when I first saw the painting out of the corner of my eye.
Well, let's see. Kind of a Western feel.
Yeah. I wanted to remind everybody that we're even though we're skewing early, even though we're skewing more modern, we still have some really we're covering really the whole history of the pulps in this sale. And we had a Dawn of the Pulps magazine sale that's been going on, and so I've been thinking a lot about early pulp magazine art, and this is just a really strong example of it.
This one's very nice. Jeff Wedding mentions that his favorite Earthsea edition covers were the Penguin editions by Dave Smee. I'm not familiar with those. I'll have to look them up.
Those are good ones. Yeah.
Well, this is nice. Now, is this a finished piece, or is it?
Yeah, that's a finished piece. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And then this is Leo and Diane Dillon. They also did a lot of covers for Ursula Le Guin. I don't know if everybody, I don't think they're that well known in the comic art world. I'm not sure. They were a husband and wife team who they were prolific science fiction and speculative fantasy like illustrators, as well as just more general paperback artists. And they were really known for both working collaboratively and also working in just an incredible array of genre and medium. So this is unusual. It's record cover art, and you don't see a lot of that, but you don't see a lot of that. And it's got the square format. I think it's pretty close to actual size, and I think it's it's interesting because it's for fairy tales. So it's it's probably for something that would be bought by kids and for kids, but it's also got every kind of like adult hippie trope that was going on there.
Yeah, that's true. It's interesting when I think about these pieces coming in as consigned, and I always wonder about the collectors. Where were they finding pieces like this? Where were they picking them up? Was it gallery shows? Did they know the artists? I mean, I don't know, as a collector, those are the things we just love to know, right? And you see a piece like this and you just wonder how, when, where, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, Leo and Diane Dillon, they are actually one of my favorites. Like
Hmm.
just and one of the most special pieces of art I own is a piece by them that on the back it has the whole listing of all these different times that different people threw it out and other people rescued it from the trash.
Hmm.
So, the stories of how people get these things are just absolutely wild. Yeah.
Okay, now little Robert Maguire here.
Yeah.
Great.
Another artist who we've got if you're a Robert Maguire fan, like check the whole sale out. We've got actually a few pieces of him that kind of cover his whole career. This is clearly just, this is untoppable to my eyes. Yeah.
The Case of the Radioactive Redhead paperback
Yeah.
cover.
The Case of the Radioactive Redhead. And this was obviously for a Pulp Fiction
Mhm.
paperback that was a hard-boiled detective that was a spin-off of the series that featured Honey West, who was the kind of the first, hard-boiled like female detective series. So I really love this. I love the way that like you Google something about this piece of art and you find yourself lost in a whole world of just what was going on in culture at that time. And then you don't need any of that to just love that. Yeah, her face, you could just look at it forever.
Exactly. No, I've always Maguire is one of those artists that I'd love to get something from someday.
Yeah.
Even
Well, might
even
be
guys
might
visit
be your
my house.
day.
It's true. I mean, if you're a fan of illustration art, especially from this era, Maguire is kind of a must-have, I think.
Yeah.
Yes, it's beautiful. And I got to go back and look and see what the size is on something like that. 11 by 20. So right in our wheelhouse is, close to the 11 by 17 that we're used to always having.
Just promise me you're not going to cut it down.
No, no, I have never done that. I don't encourage people to ever deface the boards that their art is on in any way. No erasing anything, no trimming it. Not, if it doesn't fit in the frame, don't put it in one, unless you're going to
Yeah.
mat it and do it properly that way. No,
Yeah.
but we've seen things in our
I
hobby.
know we all have that. That's why I say it, like
Hmm.
it's like all of those times when you read the terms and conditions of something and you're like, how did this one get added? Who,
Right.
what stupid human trick did somebody try here?
Right. Oh, I know. We've seen a lot of crazy things. I'm sure you have probably seen even more since you get to handle a lot of this stuff.
Mhm.
But yeah, you have to respect the art and in the condition that it came in. If you're not making it better,
Yeah.
you're not deacidifying the paper
Yeah.
or correcting a tear, don't do anything to it.
Yeah.
All right, now where are we going here now? This is Jack Faragasso. I'm not,
Jack Faragasso.
no.
So he's really actually pretty well known in certain circles because he's been a teacher for a long time. He's
Sure.
been at the Art Students League. He's been, so there's a lot of people who know him for his skill at teaching anatomy in specific, which you can really see here. That yeah, you can just really see, not just in a way of like, this is a beautiful, this is a beautiful woman, but it's just like it's just got a real level of skill to it, with everything from the articulation of the fingers to just how, no matter how much you think about it, like everything she's doing is working. It's true. And this was so good that it was used twice, like two books in two consecutive years in the early 60s.
And it has yellow in it, and it's a
Yeah, it
paperback
has
cover.
yellow in it. Yellow and red.
Yes, all the things we talked about the last show.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Well, yeah, and Black Viper of Torrance says that he's got a 40-inch tall Maguire in his house. Well, congrats to
Well,
you.
yeah.
That's a nice piece to have.
Pictures are it didn't
Uh,
happen.
yeah, exactly. Uh, let's see, what do we got here? James Bama. This is a wow. I mean, what is this from? It's from a
So that
magazine.
I don't I have yet to figure out exactly where this was used. You can tell by looking at it that it's a magazine interior, but like so many things, it's a mystery that you can solve, and then have the bragging rights that you're the one who solved it too. But yeah, this is great. I really like this. I think it's first of all, I love things where you see that many figures because you didn't have to work that hard. You know, anytime somebody's putting that many like people moving in all these different ways, you can tell they're having a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, there's a lot going on in this. You know, it's like I didn't even notice the gunman who's over here with the state police he's shooting at over here. I mean, yeah, it's
Yeah,
fantastic. The uniforms are so well
the
done.
central figure, the one thing I love about it is he's got this little trickle of blood going down his hand. And like I just spent 10 minutes when I was kind of reviewing the pieces that we were going to talk about, thinking about like, how did he get it? Is that from a bullet that went astray? Was that earlier? You know, and I just think that that's like those little details are why people love Bama. That like he always was just doing the most.
Yeah, no, this is fantastic. And again, you know, outside of grays and reds, I mean, the palette's pretty minimal, but
Yeah.
he gets so much out of that.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Wow. I'd love to see a whole book.
Cheaper for the magazine to, cheaper for the magazine to keep it in kind of like 3 colors, you know.
All right, we got a lot of yellow in here, and it was
Oh yes, we do.
cover. Now, Lou Feck from Make Room, paperback cover from 1973.
So Make Room is the title of the book that is Soylent Green. So basically, when Soylent Green came out, they produced this version of the book that is it has all of these elements, has this vignette element of these scenes from the movie. And that's what's going on. So you can see that, like, if you've watched Soylent Green recently, you can kind of recognize all of these references.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, no,
So
I'm familiar.
that's pretty special. It's got a lot of appeal for movie people, for book collectors, for people who are intrigued by what the future of our economy and our food sources are going to be. Got something for everybody.
Sure, exactly. So, I mean, do you find, when for the few buyers or the buyers that you get to learn about, I mean, do they kind of really go in and out of art collection to fans of film versus fans of, books and that sort of thing? I mean, is that what you?
Yeah, you do. I mean, you do get this thing where it's like you will have people who they're primarily interested in collecting, just art in general, and then they also have like a specific passion for one specific movie. Or they have, or vice versa. You have people who like they're film collectors, and they also are going to recognize when something is completely iconic. I think you saw that with the Apocalypse Now poster.
Exactly what I was thinking about.
The last sale.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And but it's hard to say because I think you see something that obviously if it wasn't Apocalypse Now, it would have been, hard to kind of contextualize that beauty in the way that kind of drove the bidding. But I think that I think if it had just been a poster for an important movie that didn't have just that much power in terms of the artistry, it also wouldn't have gotten there. And because it takes people who are motivated by all of it to really kind of like get excited in a way where they recognize that this is just such a thing that you're never going to see again. Such a thing that like you have to try and celebrate and have to try to honor and have to try to protect, which is so much of why we collect. We think about it, it's like every time we collect something, we're saving it from that story that I just said about, somebody's just going to throw it out.
Yeah, that is very true. This is great. Let me see. So where are we going? Oh, I thought this was amazing, and it's Basil Gogos again. Remember, I know in the signature auction there was a piece by Basil that was just kind of, out of the ordinary. I think it was another war scene, right? There was like
yeah. I mean,
a
he did.
cave or something.
Yeah, he did a number of these magazine covers that were these war scenes, and yeah, they're not what you expect. But as soon as you know they're his work, you recognize it, And this is another thing where you've got multiple collectors coming at it from multiple different angles who, would have really strong reasons to be interested in this. Like people who love Gogos, people who really, like are Gogos collectors, then people are collectors of these men's adventure magazines, and then people who are militaria people. There's reasons for all of them to be interested in this. And yes, I think when you get to the point where you can see that guy's teeth in specific, this couldn't be anybody else.
Right. No, it's just fantastic. The barbed wire, the guy with the flamethrower. This guy's, it's back to there's a lot of storytelling going on in here that he's added to this. So
and again, a little hint of yellow and red.
Got to catch their eye on the book rack.
Yeah.
That's
I think this one's great. There's another Gogos in the sale too. A lot of these artists, if you like them, this is a really good chance to check them out and learn a little bit more about them.
Assuming that would be it right there. Yep, there it is.
Yeah, that would be it. Yeah, and then there's you just popped on a Al Rossi that I didn't have time to talk about, but there's just, I love this sale.
There's a lot of fantastic pieces in here.
Yeah, there's a lot of that great that kind of gothic romance, gothic horror art, which I think is very under the money, and kind of has a lot of just a lot of kind of emotional storytelling and fun bang for the buck. Yeah.
And again, another piece that's on an odd shaped board, and we don't trim those, but that's something that's kind of common, right? It seems like whenever an artist uses a board, a lot of times they don't crop it down to the image. A lot of times, I don't know why. The few painted pieces I have that are on board tend to have a lot of extra space around them. Probably just it was easier just to not do it.
I mean, I think it's a lot. I think a lot of people they're used to the medium that they work in. They really want to work in the medium they work in. Like they want, you have muscle memory that gets attached to it. So, you're not going to want to necessarily be like working to a different scale all the time.
Kazra was mentioning if that was a Mark English when I was going over those, and yes, it is.
It is, yeah. That's a really nice one too. I could say that all day.
Right. Well, again, I mean, I should be looking at what we're not looking at over here.
Yeah. Great. There's some great Puccanis. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And Lee just mentioned that sometimes the board holds space for the title or masthead. That's certainly true also, but it's also when it's not, when you don't see the overlay, they didn't always need to do that, like when sometimes it is because they did have the overlay on it at one point, but a lot of times it actually is a little bit of a spatial recognition of where the overlay is going to be, even if they're not using the overlay.
Yep, and very true, Robert. Needs the creator versus they're not thinking about who somebody's going to buy it and how they need to display it later on. I agree with you there. So Chester Gould, this is I mean, we're so used to just seeing the strips, but seeing character pieces like this is really fun.
Well, I think this is really interesting. I wanted to flag this just because you see the strips, and then this character piece. This was for the Saturday Evening Post because he was so popular that like when he was announcing some of these new characters, they did just a whole feature about like the man who made Dick Tracy or something like that. And it was really kind of about like hyping up this to the kind of culture that wasn't connected to the comics. And I feel like that's a really, I don't know, like I feel like that connection between kind of like the illustration art world and the comic world is just a pretty neat one to linger on for a second.
No, I like this a lot. Every time I see a Chester Gould, Dick Tracy Sunday, I'm like, I've got to get one of these. I mean, there are a lot out there, but
Yeah, yeah,
but they're just so classic and
I
well
know.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to correct that because yeah, these are beautiful, and it's from an era when I think strips were really kind of falling into their own. People were, they've been around for 20, 30 years at that point, but everybody was just kind of getting it, and the storytelling
Exactly.
was fun. It was
Yeah.
an era
Yeah.
where they were probably borrowing from the way people were making films and everything, and just trying to
Oh,
figure
I
out,
mean, yeah.
so yeah, these are
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, him in particular, yeah, like Chester Gould in particular was really
Hmm.
just borrowing from these things that like we don't even recognize the references anymore, but they were clear to everybody then.
All right, Jim Silke, right?
Yeah.
Kind of unmistakable, right, in his approach to the female figure. I mean, his faces are,
Yeah.
yeah, you just know it when it's a piece by Jim. He's amazing. I've got a few of his books.
He's amazing. I have to say one thing I've been thinking about a lot with him is just not just the figure, not just like this is a great vampy, but it's the kind of like the softness to the softness of the scene around her, the kind of touches that are the touches of the like of the foliage, of the sand, that kind of just turn it into something that feels really captivating outside of just proof of his talent, just like I think that there's these details in this that I don't know, remind me why these are so coveted.
Right. I mean, this says it was done in 2016, and he was born in 1931. I mean, so he's in his 80s
Yeah.
painting like this, and I had the pleasure of getting to see him several times at San Diego,
Yeah.
and he's such a joy. But to be able to
He's
work
such
at
a nice man.
this kind of level and still be really prolific too, because at least
Yeah. Yeah.
over the last
And
few
that's
years.
what I think that might be what I'm getting at in a weird way, that like what's great about this on top of just, she's beautiful, she's iconic, is that like there's a confidence that comes from having been working at this level for so long, that just these little tiny touches of the choices of the like pink flowers and the bat against the moon, that it just kind of like brings it all to life in a way that you're not even thinking about, because as Black Viper says, the ladies are so hot, you don't even notice like all the other things that are going on to kind of draw you in, but they
Mhm.
are all working together to draw you in, like the earring to the bats in specific I'm thinking of.
All right. Well, let's see. I think we have 3 more to look at here.
Yeah.
Let's go over to here. No, wait a minute. What did I miss there? All right. Didn't want to miss anything special.
You didn't want to miss Richard Williams. That's a great Richard Williams. Yeah, we got a couple. Yeah, we've got a couple more Jim Silks, and then we've got this Richard Williams. I love his work.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, that's a really good one, and and it's very beautiful. It's very luscious, and it's very displayable. Not over the top. And then because we're getting into the Christmas, we've got some works that relate to the Christmas season. So I wanted to make sure that since the last time I'm going to come on this year, I wanted to make sure that I was wishing everybody off for the holidays in a way. I love this one. It's such a classic example of 1950s mainstream illustration. Al Moore is really a huge talent that I don't think he's still underrated. He's very known in certain circles, but for how talented he is, I think he's still pretty unknown and underrated.
So since you mentioned that, when is the next major signature auction for illustration?
It is not for a while.
Really,
It
it's
is
like
going to
March?
be right around the beginning of
Oh,
May. So
May.
we got
Wow.
to get some showcases on the books to keep
Right.
everybody happy between
Huh,
now and then.
that is a long gap. Yeah,
I
we'll have
know,
to
I
get.
know. I mean, yeah,
There's
we'll
enough
see.
work coming
If I
in.
get enough stuff in, I'll root for us to have another.
Mhm. Let's see. All right, so a Jack Potter piece, and
Yeah, and this is a Coca-Cola ad.
Mhm.
And I think this is really interesting because you think of Coke, you think of it as like this just bright red, Santa Claus, like a Christmas Coke ad you would think of as just being like Santa Claus and red, and the bottle's so big, and this is so subtle.
Mhm.
And it really is unexpected. I didn't even realize it was a Coke ad at first.
All right, you kind of got to look around to find the bottles,
Yeah.
but they are there.
Where's Waldo? Where are the bottles?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
From 57, but you're right. You do only Santa Claus or the Bears or something when you're thinking about that. Uh, I don't know if there's any more Berkey pieces in the auction,
There's
Seamus.
no more Berkey pieces in the auction. I'm gonna try to hunt some down before the next one though.
Mhm.
Yeah, just everybody should keep telling me what they're looking for, and I'll keep trying to find it. And I mean, this one just charms the pants off of me. It's Olivia, she's a living legend in the pinup
Mhm.
world. She's just beyond. And I think for talking about Christmas, for talking about illustration, for me, I didn't focus on the pinup in the sale very much. But if you're into pinup, you're going to find some great pinup in the sale. There's some Joyce Ballantyne, there's some Von Bass, there's some really classic pinup in the sale, but I want to at least show one true pinup, and I picked this one by Olivia because it's Christmas, and I love her green eyes. I love the playfulness, of the elves on her head.
No, it's very
There's nothing not
Olivia's.
to love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a few pieces by Olivia and Gaff. Not enough, but yeah, this is a very good example. And you're right, keeping in step with the holiday season.
Yeah.
And her glass is empty, so I don't, there's suggestions here that she's had one too
She's had
many.
a day. Yeah. She's on the naughty list,
Exactly. Oh man. Well, just looking at just the thumbnails that I was able to see going through here, I'll definitely be spending some time checking out all the pieces and all the lots that you have in here, and rooting for you to have another showcase auction or two before May. That's way
Yeah.
too long to wait for another signature auction.
Yeah,
You
I
might have
know.
to stay in California a little longer to drum up some more consignments.
Well, like I said, everybody, you know where to find me. If there are things you're hoping are going to pop up in future sales that you want to let me know about, if there are things that you're thinking of maybe rotating out of your collection,
And what was the email address again, Sarahjane?
it is Sarahjane B, SARAHJANEB @HA.com. Oh, and you can also now find me on Instagram at Sarahjane at Heritage.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
So what do you post there?
More of the
Sure.
same. What's on
Mhm.
my mind? Highlights from upcoming sales. I've been starting to do more and more stories about illustration art that I'm seeing popping up in other departments. So,
Mhm.
because I think that there really are, like we were saying about the things that are alluring to entertainment collectors, so they pop up in entertainment sales, but I think have a lot of cross appeal. When we were talking about the Games Workshop stuff, there's stuff that you see in the video game sales, and I love it all, and I want to make sure that people who love illustration get to see it all too.
Awesome. Well, I will make sure that I follow you after
Yeah.
after we're done here. But as always, anything that I can do for you, you let me know. I hope you have a wonderful success in this sale. I can't wait to go through everything this weekend, and of course, have a great holiday. And we won't
You
be able
too, and I'll see you at OAX.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
That is, I keep forget. How can I forget that? That's what, about 7 weeks away? That's true. Well, that's going to be fun. We've still got a few announcements out there that I know you're going to find very interesting, but I'll make sure that,
Right.
when those announcements happen, I'll forward them your
Yeah.
way just to make
Are
sure
you
that you.
saying I have to stay tuned for your next show tonight?
Uh, I think it's going to be more next Thursday. We're going to have some interesting announcements related to the IAX side of things. So yeah, not
Okay.
tonight. I've got the artists I've got coming on tonight. We've got I don't want to say who they are yet because they have commission
Okay.
opportunities. But yeah, next week I think we'll have some fun announcements that you'll be interested in too.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'll be interested in the ones tonight too.
I think you might.
Getting more like we say every time, I'm just getting deeper and deeper drawn in.
Mhm. All right. Well, very good. Well, as always, it's a pleasure hanging out with you, Sarahjane. So, yeah, enjoy your time on the West Coast. Get some rest.
I
And
will. Okay, you too. Take your own advice. Okay.
I will do my best. Thank you. All right,
Okay.
everybody.
Take
Thanks
care.
for hanging out with us. We'll,
Yeah.
I'll be back at it in about 15 minutes on the CAF update. So I'll see you everybody again soon.